Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RRTV's exclusive coverage of Season 12 of the Monday Night Lights, here coming to you live from Lime Rock Park. And tonight I'd like to introduce our new commentary team here. We've got myself, Alex McKellar, and Tim Gorkrocher, one of the top skippy drivers going around, joining us as well. Tim.
Yeah, Alex, thanks very much for having me, and I appreciate the kind intro. But yeah, no, Lime Rock Park this week, it's a pretty interesting track. A few little difficult sectors, only 7 corners, but if you don't really maximise the run up the hill in the last few corners, you're not going to set a good lap time.
No, you're exactly right, mate. But there's a bumper field here tonight. Of course, we're reinvigorating or relaunching the Monday Night Lights after having a season off. So the fields will build up, no doubt, over time, but we still have got a cracking field here tonight. Some big names here on shows. We look at Dennis Johansson out here, and he's doing his qualifying laps. One of the top drivers in the world, it has to be said, young Dennis. But the strength of field here tonight is just a tick over 3,100 at 3,164, which puts us well inside the top 10 splits for the week. In fact, just a nudge outside the top 5. So not a bad effort for our first week back, Timmy.
Yeah, no, it is terrific. And like you said, a fantastic field of drivers. Australia's best on show and a handful of internationals to spice things up a bit.
Yeah, you're exactly right again, mate. Enzo Kander, of course, sitting top of the pops at the moment as we ride on board with Enzo now. He's a multiple-time winner of not only the official iRacing seasons, but Monday Night Lights as well. And I should have introduced you more properly, mate. You're the reigning champion in the Monday Night Lights, mate. What does that title mean to you?
Actually, I spent a fair bit of time in the skip last season, and it was nice to get some reward. But with a handful of wins across the 12 races. But yeah, Enzo was probably he and Luke Whitten the biggest challenges for me through the last season. Enzo's ridiculously quick, and I know he enjoys his skip racing no more than here. After he sets I think he set a 51.7 for what looks like lap 2, but last year did the same, got pole. And I tried him the whole race. He was just too quick, just couldn't catch him.
Yeah, he's tough to beat once he gets in front. You're right, he set a 51, just a shy under 51.2 at a 51.198. Sorry, 57.198 as he comes around for his second lap, looking to improve on that. He's tough to get around once he's in front, particularly here. This is where it all started for me with Monday Night Lights coverage with RRTV. First race was here. It's great to be back here again. The racing's really tight and close, and you can get big packs as they try to maintain the draft and work out their strategy over a tight, short track, admittedly, with laps being under the 1 minute mark here in a skippy, but certainly the race from a strategic point of view can be where it's won and lost.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's not uncommon to find battles from the start because you don't get too many opportunities to, the opportunity to pass comes up. Often the good guys will sit tight, just going to bide our time and make a move at the end. But at Lime Rock Park, you only get 1 or 2 chances a race, so very rare to see a lot of positions gained. So any chance you get to go for P1, you've really got to capitalise on that opportunity, or you're not going to win.
Yeah, no, you're right again, mate. And what I found here in my experience is that my preferred approach, at least from a strategy point of view, is to sit back and let other people make their mistakes in the early stages, taking advantage where you can with sort of minimising your risk, because if you have to take a pit stop here, you get one fast repair in this series, you're quite often down a lap and you're out of all hope. You're just really letting guys buy you for the rest of the race. But if you can manage to capitalise on the opportunities that do present themselves, then you can make every post a winner, as it were. Great to see Luke Whitten out on track this season again. Ranked car number 5 here, so 5th rated driver in the field tonight. He's a previous series winner as well. He's one of the top Australian, New Zealand drivers in this series. He's also a 2K Cup round winner as well, so he's certainly not shy of pedigree around here, mate. He sends it a bit wide through the second to last corner, the rear stepping out on him. Great to see Luke back in action, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely, and Luke doesn't mind a bit of sideways activity. And a place like Lime Rock, though, it can punish you, not to mention the 1Xs, which you just put a wheel off the track and you're likely to pick up a 1x. You've only got, I think, 18 to play with. And at a track like Lime Rock, you need to use them wisely because it's easy to make contact, and after that, that little touch, you knock up 4 of them, a handful of off tracks, and you can find yourself, disqualified.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's tough around here, as you say. You've got a maximum of 17 incident points here. The off-track score you 1, a decent contact will score you 4, and a spin will score you 2. Add up to 17, and you just magically pop off the track and disappear disqualified. So a lot of the guys here, particularly the top runners, will sometimes strategically use those incident points to run a bit wide on the exit of corners to maximise their exit speed and really take advantage. Oh, Luke perhaps trying that there as he runs a few practice laps in the closing stages of qualifying, but they'll maximise their exit speed, which of course is the most important thing on that one long straight, as we see Luke run down the end of it there. But you've only got so many to play with, as you say, Tim.
Yeah, no, that's spot on, and it's just so difficult to manage because, as I said, you've got to capitalise on every opportunity, and if you're not, when you want to use them, getting late in the race, you're running that little bit wide, they've got to be there to, you've got to be able to run a wheel off the track to pick up that extra bit of corner exit speed. Looks like qualifying's pretty close to sealed, though.
Yeah, I'm just watching Dennis put it backwards into one of the walls. He's just running a few extra laps. I know Luke likes to run a few laps at the end of a quali session just to sort of get the feel for the track and get a bit of extra practice. I know he's not running a whole heap of official races, so it's great to see him here again. Just taking a look at the race conditions tonight, partly cloudy with a southeasterly breeze, not too strong there, won't affect the cars too much. More importantly, of course, the air temps at 29.8, but the track temperature we'll see later is sitting at 33, which is perhaps why we didn't see anyone duck into the 56s in qualifying. But qualifying, speaking of which, is just finished now. So if we take a quick look at our grid, pole position going to Enzo Cantor tonight with a great time, 57.198, followed by Kane Halliburton, so 2 internationals on the front row of the grid. James Keane, the first of the Aussie-New Zealand contingent tonight, in 3rd. Michael Fiedler in 4th. Alex John, go Team Milo, in P5, followed by Dennis Johansson. I imagine I would expect Dennis to progress a bit from there tonight. P7, Darryl Ridley, a familiar face to Monday Night Light regulars. Great to see him in P7, really quick driver there. Luke Whitten in P8, perhaps unfamiliar for him. Matt Hobbs in P9. Kevin Henderson, stalwart of the Monday Night Lights, in P10. 11th is Oscar Maza from Iberia. 12th, Sam Devantier. 13th, Samuel Collins. Oh, and I better race through the rest of the field just so we can get before the lights start. And we're racing, folks, for round 1 of season 12 of Monday Night Lights. Enzo Cantor, I should say, diving and taking the defensive line through turn 1. The most of the field looking to get through okay. Tim, how's it looking? Oh, there's a bit of a collision at turn 1.
At the back. Yeah, absolutely. There is a bit of contact, couple of cars running off. Running wide. Looks like Kevin Henderson perhaps running wide, and at the back of the field, Matt Hobbs. Unfortunate to pick up some first corner contact, and he's back in the pits.
That's a shame. Yeah, Kevin looks like he's got into the back of the 8 car there, which I think is Matt Hobbs, and that's caused a bit of chaos there in amongst the remainder of the pack. Matt Hobbs, as you say, I think he's dropped into the pits as he's sort of recovered from that incident. Car looking pretty second-hand, it has to be said, but hopefully we'll see Matt after that tow try and make some sort of recovery as we return back to live pictures now.
Pretty exciting at the front end. He's got a very, very handy lead, which is just so difficult to get, but just under 7/10 as the lead pack of 8 cars go through turn 1.
Yeah, look, 7/10 will get gobbled up. He's already down to about 6.5. If the guys in the second pack there are racing smart, which most of them have got the experience enough to do, they'll settle down and hopefully look forward and see what they can do with regards to reining Enzo in. Kane Halliburton in second place, certainly he's got the pace to rein Enzo in, as we saw in the race preceding to this. It was quite action packed, and he did a good job before things came a bit unstuck. But he's on this front end of a pack of about 6 cars at the moment, Tim.
Yeah, it's an exciting front group, and there are some phenomenal names. Kane Halliburton, extremely fast racer from the UK, who'll be chomping at the bit to bring that deficit back. Looks like Enzo's had another good lap, and Kane moves across to protect the line from James Keane, the Aussie, as they go down the front straight into turn 1.
Yeah, challenging thing there for Kane is, Alex John running wide as he sort of made room for Dennis Johansson to go up the inside there through the big bend at the start of the lap, or lap 3 of 25 here tonight. Yeah, the challenging thing for Kane is, whilst he wants to defend from that the guys behind him, he also wants to not compromise his line into turn 1, the big bend, and lose Enzo even more, because he's already out to 8/10, so he's lost 1.5 tenths, which is quite a bit, all things considered that he's still in the draft in the last lap or so.
Yeah, that 1/10 Enzo will be really happy with, and no pressure at that sort of gap. You know, you're working hard to hit the lines, whereas Kane's got a bit of pressure from behind. James Keane's certainly not leaving him alone, and Michael Fiedler and Dennis Johansson pushing pretty hard too.
Yeah, Dennis is he's already up 1 position in this hotly contested field. He'll be keeping his eye out in these early stages about taking on any opportunities that present himself, but with 21 or 20 to balance of 22 laps remaining, he's got plenty of time to work his way through, and he's certainly got the talent to do so. A real life race driving instructor. I know you and I were talking before coming on air. He does some things that boggle our minds. Just some of the stuff that he's able to do in these cars is amazing.
Yeah, spot on his ability to chuck it into a corner and some really, what I'd consider dangerous moves on drivers. He just does with his eyes closed. Very, very comfortable at the wheel of the Skip Barber.
Yeah, absolutely right. This front pack now so tightly bunched. A lot of quality in this front 5 or 7. The one to watch, perhaps over and above Dennis Johansson, is Luke Whitten, who we were talking about pre-race. He's just sitting here quietly about half a second off the back of that pack. He'll probably want to close that up a bit, as Alex John is in front of him, is at risk of losing the front pack. But there again, they've just gone 3 wide, I think, into turn 1 and bunched it all back up again. So no danger of losing him now.
No, absolutely not. Interestingly, Enzo's got a gap that is just over 1.3 seconds by the look of things, and it's going to be so difficult for the pack of 6 cars from P2 to P7 to keep in touch or to bring that gap back.
Yeah, that's right. And if they have a repeat performance, anything like last lap through turn 1, then yeah, Enzo's really, it's his race to lose from here, as his lead almost now extends to 2 seconds, just shy of it, as they approach the end of lap 5 now.
Luke Whitten's looking pretty close, pretty racy. Gets sideways coming out of the last corner, puts a wheel in the dirt, picks up a 1X as he tries to close the gap on AJ John and make a move up the front straight. Couldn't make it happen though.
Dennis Johansson chucking up the inside of turn 1. He wants to be at the front of this pack. I'll tell you what, if anyone can drag this pack onto the back of Enzo, I think Dennis has. His qualifying position belied his actual speed here, as Kane Halliburton gets turned around, going too wide there, in through the left-hander. He's been left in the dust there.
Yeah, not fortunate at all for Kane. Looks like Luke Whitten got held up and has lost contact with the front pack, but otherwise the group's largely got through unscathed. But Dennis Johansson and it looks like Michael Fiedler travelling by themselves now.
Yeah, I just saw that, having a look at that contact there between Michael Fiedler and Kane Halliburton. They went too wide through the sole left-hander of this track, and I think it was a bit of net code there, and you're right, it did impact Luke Whitten, but the big impact, of course, was Kane Halliburton, who unfortunately was left on the side of the road there. As we return back to live pictures, I think he's left the stadium, so to speak, unfortunately, and that's all she wrote for Kane. Unfortunate ending to his race, Tim.
Yeah, very disappointing. And you know, Kane is such a good skip Barber driver, and to get caught up in the yeah, like you said, the only left-hander is going to be is a disappointing way for him to end his night. We saw him in the previous race too, have phenomenal pace, almost untouchable.
Yeah, you're right. The unfortunate thing here is because we're racing globally, so to see himself in Kane Halliburton and Michael Fiedler, both from Europe, latency might be an issue there. There was certainly no physical contact. It was all what we call net code, which was unfortunate for both of them. But yeah, Kane looks like he's retired from this race, and we won't see anything more. As we're on board now with Alex Johns, who ducks up the inside of James Keane into turn one, makes a good passing manoeuvre. That can be, it's obviously your best passing manoeuvre opportunity for the track here tonight. But it's also reasonable if you're working together with someone to take full advantage of that draft that you get up the longest straight here at Lime Rock Park, and then and you can potentially look to leapfrog and maybe catch the guys in front. But I'd suggest with Michael Fiedler and Dennis Johansson in front of these two, they're going to struggle even with that.
Yeah, that's spot on. It's nice to see those two try and work together. James letting Alex through on the inside. Turn one is the only corner of the track where you can make the move and not compromise your lap too much.
Yeah, that's right. Particularly if the guy's willing to work with you. Riding on board with Michael Fiedler at the moment on the gyro there. Dennis Johansson going defensive though, leaving him, although Michael appears to have lifted.
Yeah, he definitely backed out of it. He certainly knows that they're at risk of obviously coming together. Turn one is a risky turn, but also trying to keep the gap to Enzo at a manageable level in case anything happens. But Enzo last lap 57.1, pulled a full 4/10 on Dennis.
Yeah, that's a big 4/10 at this track's quite substantial. Dennis, I think, compromising his line there to defend it, but not necessarily realising that that Michael's working with him in the hope of catching Enzo. But now out to a 4-second lead. That's remarkable at this track, given the quality of the guys behind him. Enzo having a great run.
Yeah, it sounds like he certainly had his Weet-Bix this morning, and he knows the secrets to these plays, absolutely. But just looking back through P6. Luke Whitten and Sam Collins. Sam certainly keeping up with Luke, Australia's probably most recognised skip Barber driver, and putting him under a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, he certainly did. And Sam, or was it Ben Snell, I think, behind Sam Devantia, apologise if I've pronounced your name incorrectly there, took a bit of an excursion on the out of the end of the last corner there. But you're right, Samuel Collins, I think, finished second overall in the Monday Night Lights Championship last season, really taking to Luke, one of Australia New Zealand club's premier skippy drivers, as you say, nose to tail here, just the 2/10 apart. And as we go on board now with him as he heads out the back of the circuit, Samuel now putting pressure as they go up through the uphill corner here. Very loose from Luke in the front there, as you say. He likes to let the rear hang out a little bit. I'm constantly amazed at his car control, but perhaps he got a little bit too wide there. Bit of contact.
Like he clipped the wall, got very close, and Sam, his run compromised, got sideways at the same time, looking to avoid Luke.
Yeah, look,
might have just got away with it.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was a smart move from Sam there to let Luke have his moment, because you can, if you don't lift off there and follow the hashtag never lift principle, you could end up in someone else's moment and ruin your own race. So smart move from there from Sam. Not much to be gained as they're already off the back of the next group. The only thing to do there was lose his race, and but Luke, astoundingly, after making some contact there on the wall, managed to continue, and he's still in this one, Tim.
Yeah, very fortunate for Luke. You know, just the slightest taps normally knocks the camber out, knocks the toe out, and you're driving the rest of your race with a wheel that's well and truly off centre. So fortunate for him, and it'll be interesting to see whether he can keep Sam at bay.
100%. Michael Fiedler now we're riding on board with up front in P2. What sort of pressure is he going to put on Dennis Johansson, who takes the defensive line here, doesn't leave the option of going to the right, but then comes back across to take the racing line, realising that Michael's working with him now potentially, just as they sort of approach now almost half race distance, just shy of that with 13.8 laps to go. Dennis is not really making an impression on Enzo's lead, it has to be said. Enzo running a solo race up front. They're now 5.1 seconds behind. That gap's increasing with Enzo's last lap a full 3/10 quicker than Dennis and Michael's combined. So Enzo doing really, really well, it has to be said. He's been a bit quiet the last few seasons, and the officials and all the sort of skip Barber scene action that takes place around the world, but fantastic to see him having a great run here tonight.
Yeah, that's on the money, Alex. I spoke to Enzo a handful of races back, and he said it felt like he'd lost I don't know, the magic to race skippies, you know, because it is, anyone can get in and drive these. They're a great car in iRacing, but to really master them is, it's not that easy. And Enzo had it, as you said, he won the series a couple of years ago, and he's been a great performer recently. But late last season, seemed like he fell out of love with the car. But I tell you, he's 5.5 seconds ahead of Dennis now, and we know how fast Dennis is. He's on fire tonight.
Yeah, he's doing really, really well. Tell you who else is doing well, Alex John and James Keane. James, we saw at the race, you and I were watching the race preceding this. He was right up with the front guys, and that was quite a strong field as well. Alex John, the Team Miler racer here tonight, he's nose to tail with James Keane and holding his own there with another great skippy driver. Great to see AJ doing a good effort tonight.
Yeah, it is terrific, and he's really come in leaps and bounds over the last handful of the series. Picked up a super skip win at Circuit Zolder last season again, and yeah, really showing some good form. But these guys, 3 seconds off, 2.5 seconds off Michael and Dennis. So there's a reasonable chance that these two, if they work together, and it looks like they will, as James lets Alex through on turn 1, there's a reasonable chance if they work together that they could catch Dennis and Michael Fiedler.
Yeah, absolutely. A great move there from AJ at the top end of the straight there. Jumping back to another battle here, we've got, if I can get it to jump there for me, Connor Clifford here racing with another Monday Night Lights stalwart here. Just in front of him is Jason Willman. Jason Willman and Kevin Henderson, two of the longest standing, if you like, and most prolific Monday Night Lights participants. And great to see Jason just in front of Clifford, Connor Clifford here, having a great night out in P9 as it stands. He's up 11 positions, and aside from Ben Snell, 2 up the road from him, the largest mover in the field so far.
Yeah, that's a remarkable effort. I assume he had 2 off tracks during qualifying to wind up in 20th position, because that genuinely isn't a reflection of the skill and ability and the pace that Jason has. But as Connor runs wide, it looks like he ran a bit wide behind him through turn 1. But no, Jason's very, very quick. A terrific effort to move up 11 places.
Yeah, I know. You're right. It's not a reflection of his pace, although I've known him to start from the back of his own volition, not run qualifying to avoid some of the carnage. And you can see it's really paid off for him tonight, up into P9 from last on the grid. That's a great effort to this point in the race. Jumping back up to Alex John now. He's up in P4 with James Keane in that battle pack again, and Michael Fiedler and Dennis Johansson working really hard but still losing time bit by bit to Enzo Cantor, now 6.5 seconds or just over behind the leader at this stage.
Yeah, Enzo's just got it in the bag, in complete control, and this is not the sort of racing that occurs at Lime Rock Park. Typically, it's a 2, 3, 4 car pack from first through to wherever it may be, and it's just so difficult to get away. So Enzo really on fire tonight as he continues to stretch a gap out from Dennis and Michael.
Yeah, right again, mate. As I've just jumped on board, John Skoltz, one of the Team Venom drivers in the field tonight. He's racing with the other stalwart that we know, Kevin Henderson, back in 15th and 16th, the leading of the drivers that have had to pit tonight, and those two are doing putting on a great show. I'm sure, although they'll be somewhat disappointed with where they are in the field, no doubt having fun while they're at it. Yeah,
it is one of the only 3-car battles on the track at the moment. But those 3 haven't made the inroads that they would have liked through this race, as we're on lap 16, 17 at the moment. But you're right, Kevin, terrific driver. Really enjoyed the skip racing, and a good battle going on between those 3.
Yeah, with Oscar Maza bringing up that battle pack of 3. I know Kevin loves his skippy racing. He loves a bit of elbows out. He's not smiling if he's not dicing, is from what I've seen. So to have this battle pack, even though it's at the rear of the field, as we said, he'll be enjoying it as he takes a bit of a defensive line as they run out of the final corner, down to the big bend now at turn 1. He's pushing out, holding out as wide a line as he can without pushing John off the track, as it were, and they return to station for the for the next lap as we jump back up to Michael Fiedler and Dennis Johansson now, our second and third place, rounding out the podium positions at the moment with the balance of 8 laps remaining. They just seem to be holding station. So at this point in the race, Tim, if you're in Dennis's shoes, or more importantly, if you're in Michael's shoes, what's your strategy from here to take that higher spot on the dais?
Well, the keys for Michael is to make sure he's within 1 to 2 tenths as he enters the front straight through turn 7. If you don't get a good run there, you're not going to pass it. It is that simple. And Dennis, there's no one better at putting the elbows out than Dennis Johansson. So to be honest, mate, I just don't see Michael having the pace to get around the outside of Dennis, as he would protect the line into turn 1.
Yeah, look, my money's on Dennis too. I mean, despite being in potentially the weaker position with the primary opportunity at the end of this long straight, Dennis's racecraft is quite phenomenal. He's got a lot of real-world experience, a race driving instructor, as I've said before. He's done this in real life, and he's had the elbows out in real life. But here's the thing. I mean, he's a quality driver, really good race strategies. We see Michael really pushing hard to hang on the back there, letting the rear step out a bit there. My money's on Dennis to take that out. But overall, that little battle, I should say, overall, the race tonight, of course, is Enzo Cander's to lose as we jump on board with him now. He's nearly the better part of 8 seconds now, just about to crack 8 seconds out in front of Dennis, that battle between Dennis and Michael, and really just running away with it.
Simply untouchable tonight. And just looking at his race lap times, 57.0 is his number. As you know, 19 laps in, and he's probably run 11 or 12 with the odd 56.9 and the odd 57.1. So yeah, Enzo, he knows his place. Very, very comfortable. Last season's winner, and as I said, just on fire tonight.
Absolutely. Jumping back now to the battle for 4th and 5th between James Keane and Alex John. Watching them now, Alex John having the better of that one at the moment. James Keane sitting in behind him. Although these two have been stuck together like glue all night since those early incidents, and great to see that Team Milo livery in the top 4. There'll be a good bag of points there for Alex John tonight with 159. Of course, the strength of field we mentioned earlier in the race tonight being 31.64. What that means, folks at home who are new to our sport here, is it's roughly the average of all the skill ratings, the I rating of the drivers in the field. The higher that value, that overall value, the more championship points for the official iRacing championship, and the more skill points on offer in generally to spread across the field. So the winner tonight gets 189 championship points, and given that this was in the top 5 or so strengths of field during the week, you know, Enzo, if he manages to hang on here tonight, will bag a great deal of official championship points to put towards his overall season, as well as, of course, a glorious full book of points for the Monday Night Lights here tonight, Tim.
Yeah, it is a coveted trophy that so many would like to get their hands on.
Yeah.
Enzo just got it in the bag, in complete control. Just under 8.5 seconds from Dennis. But keeping the eye on the battle between James and Alex J. John. 11 seconds off Enzo, but they're having a great little battle themselves. I'd be pretty confident James can put some pressure on in the last few laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm just hopping on board another ANZ hopeful in Ben Snell. He's closing in on the back of a fellow clubmate in Samuel Collins. Samuel, of course, finished second last year in last season in the Monday Night Lights season. Ben Snell, remarkable turn of pace, really come on in leaps and bounds in the last couple of seasons, and pushed up not only his I rating but his skill level and results as part of that process, and he's closing in the back of Samuel Collins, another strong local driver here, and putting on a good show.
Yeah, that's right. Plenty of top Aussies in the field, but Ben, spot on the money. He's come good the past couple of seasons. And I was having a chat to him before the race, and we were talking setup, and to have qualified 18th, 19th or so, I think he'd been both his laps, had off tracks, but to have moved up from 19th to 7th, I mean, those sort of results, that's unheard of. So interested to see what sort of pressure he can put on Sam in the last handful of laps. Very good pace, actually. He's probably the second quickest on track topping out a 57.288 last time round, and again a 57.220 this time.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's closing right up now as we're riding on the gyro now, right up behind Samuel in front of him, putting great pressure on here with about the balance of 3 laps remaining. He'll be putting all sorts of pressure on Samuel towards the end of the closing stages of this race. Again, different pair here. I know Samuel likes to race pretty tough too, so it's to see how these two play out in those closing stages.
Yeah, it's going to be super interesting between those two and whether James can make any inroads on Alex J. John. And this time round, last time round, sorry, 1/10 separating those two. And as they come towards the final corner, turn 7, as they approach the start-finish line, Alex has got just enough lead to hold steady over James this time by.
Yeah, it looks like James is pretty content, although he runs a bit wide again there through the big bend. Looks like he's pretty content to sit behind Alex there, who himself runs wide on the exit there, heading to the left-hander now. James not really looking to take advantage of that, and it seems like he's kind of content to sit there and maybe try his chances, because this is where it's really going to happen. This last lap is where you're sort of playing, showing your cards you've been dealt, so to speak, and I'm on board now with Michael Fiedler. Is he doing exactly that with Dennis Johansson? It'll be fascinating to see, and I'm just going to hop on board the gyro with him now as we see this final strategic piece play out, Tim.
Yeah, he pokes his nose up inside Dennis, just to let him know he's there, put him off his game, try and make him miss that apex as he runs to the very inside, pops a wheel on the grass. Very fortunate to not get a bit of contact or even spin Dennis around as Dennis blocks the line on the outside of the track as he turns it into the first corner. Michael very sideways though, loses 3 or 4 tenths. That is what will occur when you compromise your line, taking the narrow entry. You want to maintain the speed, but to keep on the back of Dennis. But got sideways, and it cost him a bit of time as we work through towards the uphill section with along the no-name straight, and see if Michael, with not long to go now, can make any inroads. Last lap, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. It is the last lap. I should have that lap counter up. Sorry, folks. Last lap now, but I think Dennis has got that in the bag. It'd take a miracle or a big mistake for him. What I have noticed, though, is Ben Snell is now on the back of James Keane. And Michael Fiedler's running a solo race. Alex Johns had an incident at some point. We'll try and pick that up after the race. But Ben Snell now right on the back of James Keane, hunting out for 4th and 5th position. I've probably missed Enzo's wiggle, unfortunately. I did miss Enzo passing over the line, and that's remarkably amateur camera work, I should say, for our first night out, but that's okay. We'll go through the results at the end as we're on board now with Daryl Ridley and Jason Willman. How's that, mate? We missed the end of the first race we've done.
I wouldn't stress too much. I think those watching at home know Enzo had it in the bag, but it looks like a good last lap between Michael and Dennis. Michael just under 2 tenths behind him. James Keane coming home 4th. Yeah, very interested to see what happened to Alex, who looks like he's put his foot in it at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. A nice tight finish over at the end there for the pack involving Kevin Henderson and John Schultz. I'll just see if I can't pick up that incident from Alex John. Let me see here. Perhaps this one. Looks like he's coming into turn 1, and he's let it go wide. And has he got contact there? No. Okay, we'll roll that tape a bit forward. It was such a shame. He was sitting in. That must have been the previous lap. I think we saw that one live. I can see where his pit stop was, but not where the actual incident took place.
The entry on the penultimate lap to turn 7, he's got a wheel on the dirt, chucked him sideways, counter steered, and popped it into the wall on the left-hand side. Ruined his race, unfortunately.
Such a shame there. You know, it was a bigger shame. I'm just watching AJ to see if we can't find it. We missed Enzo's wiggle. I know he'll be gutted too.
Yeah, Enzo will be upset, but hopefully we get an interview with him after the race, and he'll tell you all about it.
Oh, yeah, I can see AJ's incident now. Yeah, you're right. On the outside of the final corner. Oh, he'll be gutted at that. It's so easy to do, and he's on for such a good result, and then he's binned it like that, and he's just pulled over to the side and hit the escape button. Oh, what a
He would
shame.
be pretty upset. Qualified fifth, which is a phenomenal effort for Alex, but these are the things you learn from racing. You got to put every lap together, and we spoke so many times about those off tracks and one small mistake, and it's all over. We saw it happen to Luke Whitten. Kane obviously came together as well. Matt Hobbs had an issue too at the start. Unfortunate, got going again, but a lap off the leaders, and of course Alex unlucky with that error on the second last lap, all by himself.
Yeah, such a shame. But let's go through our final results. Since we missed so much of the action live, we may as well look at the standings so people know where things finished up. Enzo Cantor, fantastic drive, flag to flag, it must be said, and a fantastic start to the season for him. Dennis Johansson racing a really smart race to jump up 4 positions in a tight, really tightly contested front 5 there at the start of the race. Could have been anyone's, and Dennis once again showing his race smarts to finish in second. Michael Fiedler, fantastic job, and a tight racing with Dennis to finish to round out our podium tonight. James Keane in P4, first of the Australian New Zealand club members, with Ben Snell, Samuel Collins and Sam Devantier the following suit from the ANZ club in 5th through 7th position. Connor Clifford in P8. Jason Willman, that stalwart we mentioned before, finishing up 11 positions in P9. Darryl Ridley, another Monday Night Lights favourite, finishing in P10. I think Darryl dropped a couple of spots, maybe a bit. I haven't seen Darryl on track much this week, so he might have been a bit rusty, I don't know, but I certainly know he's got the pace for future events like tonight. Glenn Arkell in P11. Paul Austin in P12. Moving on to the second page now, Toshimasa Hanada from, well, it says the Asia Club, but I know he's from Japan, in P13. Kevin Henderson, another Monday Night Light stalwart, in P14, having a great battle throughout with John Scholz in 15th. He's a closeted South African, but he wears the Australian flag with pride sometimes. Oscar Chinchillamaza from Iberia in 16th. And it looks like the rest of our results might be a bit skew if, judging by that. Alex John, I'm going to say in 17th, based on the results that I've got in my other telemetry, followed by Matt Hobbs in 18th, Luke Whitten in 19th. Didn't see what happened to Luke. Did you happen to catch that? I might have forgotten with...
Luke had the incident on the entry into turn 7, ran wide on the exit of 6, clipped the wall, and I reckon that he made a blue later in the race.
Yeah, we might see if we can pick that up later with Kane Halliburton, our only retirement for the evening in P20.
Unfortunate for Kane. I think we pinned our hopes on, while he was in position 2, being the one who'd managed the gap to Enzo, but got caught up on turn 2, 3 with that bit of netcode, as you said, and really that was enough for Enzo.
That's it. Speaking of Enzo, I tell you what, we've got a queue in the green room, mate.
Look at them line up.
I know, we're back, baby. Yeah. I'll bring up our favourite here, our winner here tonight, Enzo Cantor, and we'll see what the young Italian's got to say. Mr. Enzo Cantor, Alex McKellar here, mate. Great to have you back. What a sensational win for you tonight, mate. How was the racing out there?
Hi guys. First of all, welcome back. We did this broadcast. I missed you, and well, I knew that this could be the new broadcast, so I prepared the race very well, I don't know, I think I came back on fire this week because yesterday I did another 3 races on this track in Lamrock. I did the 3 pole positions in front of many other so fast drivers as Philippe Lebert, Benny Simonsen, and I don't know what happened. Perhaps my little brother is working again well. And yeah, I was very comfortable today. And after, yeah, I was happy after the pole position. But sincerely, I was I didn't think that I could go away in this easy way. I knew that I had a fast pace, but it was easier than I thought. So I didn't push too much harder because you know, I can do mistakes even if I am alone on the track. So in the last laps I preferred to leave the three driver in front of me battle each other without lapping, and so I could do my wiggle on the finish line, and I'm so happy.
Well, mate, it's great to have you back. I apologise, I missed the wiggle. I can't believe it. It's a rookie mistake on our first night out, mate. But it is great. It's great to have you out back here, mate. I really do appreciate the support. You've had some great nights here and some great, results here over your time with us. 3 Monday Night Lights. I think this has been a platform for you to take out official seasons as well. So it's great to have you back. Dominant performance tonight. Fantastic consistency in your laps tonight. So it seems like you certainly got the little brother under control. But listen, I'll hand you over. Former Monday Night Lights champion to current Monday Night Lights champion Tim Gorkrotch joining us here in the broadcast booth, mate. I'll see if Tim's got any questions for you.
G'day, Enzo. Congratulations, mate. A fantastic race. Comfortable win in the end. And I just got to say, first up, not sure I agree that you backed off on the last few laps. I'm looking lap 24, 56.9 was the fastest lap of the race. You're in complete control tonight. Just a fantastic result. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. I was surprised that you were not on the track. I was expecting a battle with you, Tim. So why?
I thought I'd do the right thing and put my hand up. But look, hopefully the gig in the RRTV Combox will be a little bit more permanent this season. We're hoping to build up the Monday night skip racing. I wouldn't say my comments are expert, but it has been a lot of fun. But mate, tonight you just did such a good job. Tell me though.
Yeah, but for me it was easier because you weren't on the track. So
I remember last season we had a fantastic battle the whole race. That was my first introduction to to Monday Night Lights and a very good tough skip Barber race. So, but tell me, this is a different circuit to so many others because the corners are so fast and so flowing, and you really need to maintain the average speed. Do you change much in terms of setup for a track like this?
Well, I'm sincere. I use always the same setup in every tracks. Every time is always the same setup because I think the set is not. You can adapt the set for your driving style, but it can't change much from a track to another. So the important thing is that you have perfectly in control with the car, and you can achieve it. I think, in my opinion, using always the same setup. You can change a little bit the tire pressure, but sincerely, I didn't do it almost never. Today I was, as you said, perfectly in control. I was managing to not push too much hard because sometimes I'm a little bit stupid. I try during a race when I am alone to push in order to make a fast lap after another fast lap, but in order to maintain concentrations, because when you are alone on the track, it's easier to lose focus, but you can do mistakes, and so I managed to be comfortable with my pace. Then in the last laps, when I had a really good gap, I tried to go under the 57, and I reached it. So, well, I'm so happy. I think I could do better the T1 corner, but definitely this kind of track is one of my favorite for my driving style because I like these fast corners. I like to let the car flowing in maintaining the speed in the corners, and perhaps I have to improve, still improve the hard braking in hairpins, but this kind of corners are what I prefer.
Mate, I don't think you can be too unhappy with tonight, and certainly the entry to turn one. I dare say, in my opinion, you did 25 of them pretty close to perfectly. So congratulations on the win, an outstanding result.
Thank you again. Thank you.
All right, Enzo, mate, welcome back again, mate. Fantastic flag-to-flag victory tonight, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully back next week for a shot at another one.
I hope so. But you know, now I am a father, so I have not so much time to practice, and it's difficult for me to try to win the championship. I will try to get another win in this Monday Light Series, but I'm trying to drive other cars because I like so much the Lotus 49, and I think I will try the Lotus 79 this season. I think I have not a chance to win, but it's racing for fun and less stressing than fighting every time for the win. So I think I will take it easier than before. And let me say some thanks to my sponsors.
Please go ahead.
And my team. Mivano, Trasmaster, Cube, Tyrell, and all other sponsors. My team manager Fabio Mantellini, Maria Concetta for logistics, and yeah, all my teammates and everyone who supports me.
Excellent, Enzo, mate. Well, we'll see you again next week, and thanks again.
Thank you again, guys.
Well, there you go, Timmy. Pretty good drive from Enzo tonight, really, wasn't it? He did well.
Just untouchable. And yeah, as I said, you just don't find that sort of stuff in skip Barbers.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at every race through the series this week, it'd be very, very rare to find, you know, a real runaway win. And that's what he did tonight. He gave him a bit of a bath, you know. Yeah,
that's right. So, great effort from Enzo tonight. We do have Ben Snell sitting waiting in commentary tonight. Ben finished. Where did he finish tonight? He finished in P5, I think. He had a great battle with James Keane, if I'm not mistaken. So I might bring Ben up for a bit of a chat. Ben Snell, Alex McKellar here in the RRTV commentary booth, mate. Good finish for you tonight. Not a great qualifying. I don't know if you struggled in qualifying, but certainly a great finish, mate. How did you find it out there tonight?
It was a bloody war zone out there tonight. In the back it was anyway.
Yeah, mate. What happened in quali? What put you up so back end of the field there?
I don't know how to keep the car on the track at Lime Rock.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. But up 14 positions. You were in a tight battle there with James Keane. How did that one play out for you?
It was good. We got a really tight battle. I think I caught him with about 2 laps to go. Managed to go around the outside onto turn 1 on the last lap and just held him off to the line.
Around the outside, mate. That's a pretty good move here at Lime Rock. 2 wide and sticking it a pass like that, you'd be very happy with that, yeah?
I was extremely happy.
Excellent. All right, mate. Well, I've got expert commentary and questions here from Mr. Timmy Gorkrocher. I'll hand you over, see what he's got to ask you.
Yeah, well done, Ben. Fantastic effort tonight. Up a number of positions, and it's just so hard to make, 14 passes at a track like Lime Rock, which is just phenomenal. Almost unheard of. Anything in particular, you know, that you think you can attribute such a good comeback drive to?
Are you hinting about your tyre pressures?
Not at all. Not at all.
I think I only passed 6 cars. Everybody else crashed in front of me, so it was just surviving pretty much.
Come on, mate. I'm giving you a chance to really plug your good drive. And
I survived. That's good driving.
You did. And at Lime Rock, it's not always that easy. How'd you end up 1X-wise? Because it is a track where you can easily find yourself really needing to take it easy, but you're able to battle with Sam in the last handful of laps.
Yeah, I still had a few up my sleeve, but I'm basically about to lose my B license. So no more Lime Rock for me.
No, mate. The last one for the week, and it's a new track, I think, Mosport next week. And we look forward to having you back here on Monday Night Lights then.
Fantastic. Looking forward to having you commentate so I can actually have a chance to win.
Good comment.
Right, Eddie, before we let you go, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Thanks to you guys for broadcasting again. I know it was a little bit sorely missed last season. And thanks to everybody that actually is involved with Monday Night Lights and keeps it going.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Ben, and all the best for your racing during the week, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, I'll see you next Monday.
All right, that's a good one from Ben. Good result, top 5 finish for him. He's, like we said during the race, he's come along in leaps and bounds the last little bit. I mean, he was car number 6 here in a pretty strong field. Speaks volumes to the results he's had consistently. And I know he's talking about losing his B licence, but that partly to me says he's been pushing hard to improve at the same time, Tim.
Yeah, spot on. And I don't think losing a license class going from B to C is something to be too stressed about, as long as you're having good, fun, hard racing. That's what we're here for.
Exactly right. Well, next up on deck, we've got the man who finished just in front of him. I thought we'd lost him there, but he looks to be back, is young James Keane. We'll bring him up and see what he's got to say for himself. James Keane, Alex McKellar here from RRTV, mate. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Good result for yourself tonight, I believe. I've lost my results here. P4 was it, mate? A good finish for you and a good race. How was it out there?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I had a fantastic race. It's been a while since I actually jumped in one of the Monday Light races. I think I raced it probably nearly 2 years ago now, so back when it was first sort of running. So I've been out of it for a while. I literally got a new wheel tonight, got it all set up, and jumped in and had a run. And I'll tell you what, there were some good battles out there tonight.
Yeah, it looked like you had a couple on the boil there, mate. And but it did seem to be pretty strategic at times. There was a bit of a pile up at the start there, but sort of opened up opportunities for yourself, mate. But otherwise, the racing was hard but fair.
Yeah, definitely. So right throughout, everyone was keeping each other honest. I know at one stage, I think probably about 15 minutes in or so, I got freight trained down into turn 1 with like 3 cars going up the inside. But that sort of put me back a bit, but I just stuck my head down and kept on going. And with a few issues from a couple of the other guys, I slowly plucked away at a few more positions and got P4.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think it was Ben Snell putting some pressure on there at the end, mate. A great battle to finish as well.
Oh, definitely. I was kept on watching my mirrors right throughout, and I was keeping my head forward, hoping I could catch the next pack. But early on, I sustained a little bit of damage from one of the spins. I think it was between turn 4 and 5. That sort of put me back a bit. The car had a bit of understeer and just didn't really want to hook into turn 1, turn 2. So
yeah, and that's their crucial corners there, aren't they? Of course, here. Well, leading Australian New Zealand club member here tonight, I'll hand you over to one of the other Australian New Zealand leading drivers, and Timmy Gorkrotcher, to see what he's got to say.
Come on, Alex, man. You got to stop that. I'm going to start blushing.
Right, mate, get
James,
into it.
Fantastic of it, James. The first thing I noticed, you were driver number 12. So there was 11 guys with higher I rating than you. To qualify third in a field like we had tonight is just fantastic. Not a lot of guys are sort of capable of putting together a quali lap as good as you. You're ahead of Dennis, ahead of Michael, behind Enzo and Kane, and not by a great deal. Did you put in a particular amount of practice? Like you said, new wheel, haven't raced the skips much, haven't raced M&L for a long time, but to come back and put it into P3 and to finish P4s, that's ridiculous. That's fantastic.
yeah, thanks. No, I haven't put in as much practice as I otherwise probably should have. I've done a couple of races earlier on in the week. I literally unboxed the wheel tonight. It arrived this morning, set it all up, and it's not the optimal driving position yet, but slowly getting used to it. My qualifying laps, I've sort of learnt over my past experience that smooth is key around this track. It's just, if you can keep your steering inputs to a minimum, then you keep the speed up through the corners, and if you can keep the draft going, if you're behind someone, then you're on a winner, even if you're half a second a lap slower.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely spot on. That it's easy to forget that the cars are going fastest when their wheels aren't locked too hard, and if you really hit those apexes nicely, that generally you're going to put together a pretty good lap.
Yeah, definitely so. Like, I went from a Logitech Driving Force GT, and I found there was a little bit of a notchy feel, and it was sort of stopping me from being as smooth as I'd otherwise like. When I went to the CSL, I I found it so much smoother. It's picking up the steering inputs. It's not jumpy at all. I actually believe that it's improved my driving immensely. Like, I jumped into practice and I was half a second a lap faster than what I was with the Driving Force GT straight off the bat.
That's fantastic. That's what it's all about, you know, when you spend a couple of bucks and it is genuinely like a worthwhile investment. But James, a killer effort tonight. P4 in a very, very strong field and not too far off two phenomenal drivers in Dennis and Michael.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the broadcast.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Not really, other than probably my dad and my mum for actually pitching in and giving me a bit of a hand with getting the wheel. They actually bought the steering wheel component of it for my birthday that's coming up, so I went them halves and I got the wheelbase.
You beauty. Go on, you mate. Happy birthday for when that comes around. And Alex and I would like to say thanks to your mum and dad too, because you put on a good show tonight.
Absolutely, mate. All right, mate. Good luck for the remainder of the season. We hope to see you back again.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Well, there you have it. We've managed to get through our first event, and what an event it was. Excuse me. Movers and shakers tonight, of course. Ben Snell, the biggest mover in the field. We spoke to Ben just before, up 14 positions, followed not too far behind by Jason Willman, up 11 positions in P9. We spoke about both of those guys moving through the field during the race. The one who missed out, or the shaker of the field, was Mr. Kane Halliburton, who we saw get caught up in an unfortunate incident early on in the race, and chose to retire his car. Very costly race for him in the end, unfortunately for Kane, losing a lot of iRating. I estimate about 130, which is a long haul to get back for Kane. So bad luck to him. And Luke Whitten finishing just in front of him in P19, lost a swag as well. But quite a good race here tonight to open us up. Very exciting in different pieces with the different battles around. Tim, do you have a pick for driver of the night?
You know what? It's actually tough. Enzo just flogged them, but you can't go past Ben. Not putting in a quali lap, passing a whole stack of cars, having a good battle, and making it through to P5. Ben's effort was phenomenal. That was awesome drive from Ben. Yeah,
I'd go along with that. I think Ben's race was great to make his way through a quality field. Really talks to a guy who's got his head screwed on, where he says, you know, I'm just going to take the most of the opportunities that I'm presented to, or presented with, and just drive as smart as I can. To be honest though, I couldn't go past Enzo's flag to flag victory. You know, great to see Enzo in some form. Excuse me, and you know, to finish in front of a field like that by that margin, and not, you know, finishing by that margin is one thing when it's sort of been handed to you. Parts of the race were handed to him, but also to be able to extend and build on that lead when you've got the likes of Dennis Johansson and Michael Fiedler chasing you down and not really getting in each other's way, but yet he was still able to pull a gap. So for mine, you know, hats off to Enzo for his performance tonight. But that, folks, is just about it for us tonight. We'll be back next week. Plenty of action. Make sure you check the RRTV schedule during the week. But any final thoughts on tonight, Tim, before we head off?
No, it was certainly an action-packed race and a couple of good battles. Handful of crashes too, always makes it exciting. But yeah, you're right, Enzo, just outstanding tonight. And he's certainly set the tone for the coming few weeks. And hopefully we see a good international contingent again. Dennis and Michael showing up, Kane as well. And also the top Aussies, Ben, James, Sam, and of course Luke, Alex, Darryl Ridley and Jason, and so on.
Absolutely. Well, folks, thank you for joining us here tonight. I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and on behalf of Tim Gorkrotcher, I wish you a fantastic evening and look forward to your company next week.